Hello. Just waiting for YouTube. No, we're set on YouTube. Okay. All righty. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, just waiting for everyone to turn up. Actually, I'm cold. I'm hot. What am I doing that for? Okay, I'm just waiting for people to turn up here. All righty. No one's here yet. Okay, hello. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. While we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So where are you from? Manchester, England. Hello, mystery girl. Ooh, mystery. Not so much a mystery now. I know where you're from. Fort Worth, Texas. That's funny. I always thought that was one word. Fort Worth. It's two different words. I didn't know that. Now I know. Okay. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Lemoore, California. You were here yesterday, weren't you? Thank you for your broadcast. I've learned so much. Do you mean the podcasts? 3 podcasts are out now. We're very happy with how many people have downloaded it. So if you go on the website, you can see the website's above. So the podcasts are all out now. And very exciting. My daughter worked very hard on that because she'd never done that before. And it's like everything, there's a lot to learn. So it took her a couple of weeks to get that up and running. But she's everything has to be just so with her. I'm more slap dab, good enough. But she makes sure everything's just done well. So she did all that. Okay, we got enough people to get going here. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Anyway, check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, I got so many things now. My mini toddler courses. Do I call it mini? Why did I say that? That doesn't feel right. Sometimes you say the same thing over and over again. It doesn't sound right. You can look at my boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching. There's a wait list for that, but it's getting pretty good. I usually get back to people within a week. And our podcast is out now. So we've got 3 of them done already. They are What is Leadership Parenting, Toddler Tantrums, and Consequences. So those are the 3 different episodes that are all available right now. And we're very happy with how many people have listened to it. So thank you so much for your support. It's on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Grandma from Kansas? Is that KS? I don't think I've ever seen. Is Kansas a state? Yes. Huh. Okay. I'm Canadian, so I didn't know Kansas was a state. I don't know why. I thought it was a city. Okay. Anyway, let's get going with your parenting questions. That's what I'm here for. And I like to mix it up and throw in some just general advice as we go along. Oh, it is Kansas. Okay, so Kansas is a state. There you go. If I had to name all the states, I wouldn't be able to do it. So, okay, but I'm Canadian. I don't even think I could name all the provinces. In Canada. I used to be able to when you're a kid, but how often do you have to do that as you're an adult, right? Okay, so let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best here. BC customer here. Oh, I got someone from BC. That's where I'm from. My son just turned 3 and we're on week 2. So you must have bought the boot camp course. I've heard in your videos that you don't agree with talking through behavior tantrums, but how can we help them process emotions? It happens organically. You want them to learn how to process their own emotions. Okay. It happens organically. They learn how to do that. When you're a leader, it tends to calm them down. So there's less emotions to process. Okay. So you can't really help someone process through an emotion. It tends to drag it out. At the odd time it might be successful, it tends to drag it out. I don't want to go on too much about that because I'm quite opinionated on it, and I could go on and on and on about that. But there's no point in discussing bad behavior. You deal with it, there's a consequence. And tantrums you never discuss ever. And tantrums are not bad behavior. A tantrum is a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. Okay? Why would you need to discuss that? Yeah, it happens organically. They calm down. The thing is that when you're not a leader, their emotions are crazy. When you're a leader, their emotions are calm. When you're calm, they tend to calm down. Remember, you're not entering their emotions. You let them feed off of yours. So if you're a calm leader, they tend to calm down also, right? Yeah, they just feel taken care of. They feel safe with a leader. I feel like I'm lisping today. Why would that be? There's no reason for that. Okay. Useful play therapy is very useful. Using play therapy for what? I don't know what you mean. I don't talk like that. So that's someone else just recommended it. I thought it was going to be a question, but it wasn't. Okay. Okay. Good question. And I probably don't make this clear enough. Congratulations on your podcast. That wasn't the question, but thanks so much. It's going really well. We're really happy with it. For 3-year-old twin boys, if we give a consequence that is for 10 minutes, but they start 5 minutes in, do they clean for 10 minutes? Okay. When you give a consequence that lasts 10 minutes, you give 10 minutes to do the consequence. So, okay, you got to sweep the kitchen floor within 10 minutes. The consequence, the chore should only be 2 minutes, but they've got 10 minutes to do it. You get the idea? You give them a lot of time to do it, but they're not cleaning the whole time. So the consequence can be short, but the time allotted should be more than they need. Give them a little bit of time to stall, because I think they kind of have to do that sometimes. You kind of give them that. Yeah. I'm wanting to raise my boys to be able to talk about emotions. Just do it for myself, to them, kind of lost. And they can talk. They do learn how to talk to it. When you're a really good leader, they'll tell you everything, okay? But you don't discuss through tantrums and anger and all that stuff. Say, yeah, you're upset. Oh, well, we'll sort it through. You can sometimes talk about the cause, but it's kind of complicated. And as they get older, they will tell you everything. When you're a leader, they'll tell you everything. It's just the way it goes. It happens organically. You don't go out of your way to do it. They'll just come to you and tell you everything. Yeah, parents tend to overdo that. Tend to think that they have to, oh gosh, I can feel it coming on. I want to go into a huge lecture about this. And I don't want to do that on here. Okay. I'm going to try and think of something to compare it to. Okay. The only other role that I compare what I teach to is a sports coach that loves kids. The kids love him or her, whatever. Now, that sports coach is often a shoulder to cry on. Does that sports coach ever say to the child, do you want to talk about your big feelings? Do they? No. But why do the kids talk to them anyway? Because they're a mentor. They're a leader. They're going to come to you. They're going to talk about their feelings with you. When you get good at this stuff, they come to you with their feelings. But the coach never says, hey, let's talk about your big emotions. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. It's kind of like that. But anyway, okay. I'm just going to scroll through. Thanks so much for your support on the podcast. It's going great. People are listening to it. And I don't know much about podcasts. I actually, every time I'm listening to a podcast, I literally rarely know who I'm listening to. I can't seem to figure it out. Anyway, I'll get there. But yeah, it's going really well. So I've got 3 podcasts out, 3 episodes: leadership parenting, what it is, toddler tantrums, and consequences are the 3 podcasts that have been released. We're going to do it every Tuesday. We're going to have a new one. We've got 5 more already done, and we'll just keep doing them. Okay. Okay. My 15-and-a-half-month-old is great with me after implementing your techniques, but she always regresses a little when she's at grandma's. Okay, and we go there a lot. Okay, that's normal because they're little. They don't have great memory banks for a lot of stuff, and they're not used to doing it all the time. But eventually they'll lean into the leader. So by the time they're about 3 to 3.5, if they've got a leader as a parent, they become that person that they are with the leader everywhere else too, by the age of about 3 to 3.5. So yeah, they're going to be more influenced by other people's ways when they're toddlers. But by the time they're 3, yeah, they sort of lean into the leadership role because leaders bring out the best in kids, which gives kids pride, right? They know when they're good and when they're not. So leaders give children pride. And also pride is self-esteem. And also don't go on about how good if they're good looking or smart or anything like that. Those are just things that you're born with. Those are things you want to teach your children to be grateful for, not to be proud of. I'm really good looking. I'm really smart. No, that's just, you were just being grateful for those gifts you were given. It's nothing you've earned. Make children proud of what they've earned and how they treat people and what they do. So that's what you want them to be proud of. They intuitively know that they've done nothing to earn the gifts. So if you focus on that, they don't know how to earn anything. So yeah, that reminds me of this funny little girl. It was on a live. I mentioned this a lot. It just struck me as so funny. This little girl, she was a real bully. She was 8 years old and she was a real bully, just bullying kids all the time. And the mother was on a live, and I can say this because it was on a live. And the mother said, what do I tell her? I don't want to hurt her feelings, but how do I tell her no one because she's crying because no one likes her. But the mom didn't want to hurt her feelings and say, well, no one likes you because, because you're mean. So I said, here's what you say. I would say, she's 8 years old. I would say, if you want to be liked, you have to be likable. And then I would do role playing with her. I would pretend I was her and she'd be the other kids. And then we role play and we do it back and forth. And, but you say, no one's going to like you if you're not likable. You got to earn that. So, it's kind of that entitlement. I can do whatever I want, but I get whatever I want to, So yeah, it's an entitlement. So pretty sure the parents are pleaser parents for her to have that attitude. So hopefully they'll, maybe change their ways to get rid of that entitlement. But anyway, so yeah, tell her you got to be likable to be liked. I have 7 kids and I'm trying to manage the chaos. I'm a mess by the end of the day. Okay. When people hire me for many, many kids, I teach leadership parenting, and you might want to look at the boot camp course if you're interested, but here's what I do in the meantime. Set up systems and routines. Start really, really small and make it doable. It might just be put your dirty clothes in the hamper and nowhere else. The same rule for all 7 kids and on the behavior board. And then the consequence is they have to do a chore within 15 minutes. It's just start there really small and get systems. I've worked with many large families. I think the largest was 7 or 8. I have it in my head it was 8, but it might have just been 7. I don't know. Anyway, so, but yeah, you got to set up systems and routines, but start small. Parents tend to do this. That's it. I'm going to set up routines. And they're like a drill sergeant. They have like at 7 a.m. we get up, but just start small. Have one new routine per week and follow that through. Then have another one, but it's something small. So yeah, routines and systems and be organized. That's how you work a big family. I had a big family earlier this year, and I asked them, and I said, usually sharing is a big problem with big families. And I said, oh, so you haven't even asked me about sharing. And they said, oh, no, that's not a problem. And I said, what? And they said, no, here's the rule. They said, it's only yours in the first week after you get a gift. So as soon as they get a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, it's only theirs for a week or until they get bored with it and they're happy to share. So that first week, it's just that one kid's. Then after that, it's everybody's. And they've never had a fight over anything. God, I thought that was brilliant. So it is theirs, but only for a week. Isn't that cute? With them, I don't remember, but I don't know if we focused on systems with them. They were pretty good at a lot of stuff. Usually might have just been a couple kids' sibling rivalry stuff. I don't remember, to be honest, but I do remember that. Thought that was so clever. Okay, what should I say when my 2.5 and 4-year-old express, I'm mad and frustrated with you for them not getting their way? Just say, whatever. Like, why would you care? Why would you care that they're mad that they can't do what they want, when they want, and how they want it? Why does that matter? If you're doing the right thing and you're saying appropriately no to something that they can't have or whatever, why do you care how they react? Does it matter? Just go, okay, I'm mad at you. All righty then. And then go off and just wash the dishes. Go about your business. They're trying to manipulate you. That 2.5-year-old would have picked it up from the 4-year-old, I'm pretty sure, because they don't usually come out with that at 2.5. Unless that's something they pick up from other kids, that kind of manipulation. It's just manipulation. I hate you. You don't love me. Whatever. When something's said in those moments, you just ignore it. You just go, whatever, all righty then, okie dokie. Like it doesn't mean anything to you. But if they say that when you're on a ride at Disneyland, then you might want to question it. You know what I mean? Like it's pick your battle. When is the battle? So I would just say, if you're on a ride at Disneyland, they say nobody loves me, and you're on a ride at Disneyland, You go, okay, well, let's talk about this. What are you talking about here? Nobody loves you. So, but if it's just said because they just didn't get their own way, I'd go, whatever. It's pure manipulation. They're going like this, fishing, and they're reeling you in. Yeah, check out the podcast. It's released today. It's going really well. And we released 3 episodes today, the first 3 episodes of the podcast. It'll be out every Tuesday. If you're interested in that, it's on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. And yeah, really creative name. Okay. 10-year-old always has to be right. ADHD diagnosis, everything is a fight. ADHD doesn't have anything to do with a right fighter. Right fighters are very insecure people. They can never admit they're wrong. It's usually something that they pick up in the family. There must be shame around being wrong or losing games. There must be shame in failing or not winning. They pick that up. Right fighting is a learned behavior. It's not something they're born with. So yeah, it has nothing to do with ADHD. Lots of kids with ADHD aren't right fighters. So yeah, it means that there is some shame in not being right. Whereas I'll argue something. I'll say, I absolutely hate that. But someone will say to me, well, give it a go. You might like it. And this would be my response. Oh, okay. Like I have none of that in me. So I used to, when I was younger, I had it. I was a right fighter when I was young, but I was less secure. Now I'm 63. I don't care. So yeah, but yeah, it's an insecurity. And check into it. Do you focus on winning games a lot? Do you focus on successes? Or do you focus on them trying and failing? I'd rather kids try and fail than succeed easily. My mom used to say, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. So I always told my kids, if you're not failing in life, you're not trying hard enough, because that means you're not pushing yourself, right? And I also always told my kids, especially when they were teenagers, and they didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives. And they went to college and that, but they didn't use anything they learned there at all. My daughter works for me now, and my son does something that he didn't learn in college at all. So, and I said to them, you have to have a goal, but it can change at any time. But you have to be going for something. You have to have a target, but it can change. So long as you have to have a direction, you have to have a target, but it can change. So I really focused on that with my kids. So there was no shame in saying, I decided I don't want that career after all. And they didn't just flip around. They were very, thoughtful with stuff. So I'd say, well, sure. What do you want to do? And I won't go into it, but yeah, I've had those conversations with my kids, and it was great because I always told them, it's fine to change. So there's no shame in anything like that. A daughter is 5, and it seems that a friend she has at school is in control of her and even feeling she will. Okay, here's the thing. If you're a leader, that wouldn't happen. If you are not children who go to school, when you send them out in the world and you're not a leader is like a mentor. You're their guiding light. They go to you with everything because they trust you. You're a leader, right? So when you send children off to school without a leader, they're very susceptible to peer pressure, which is what that is, bullying, which is kind of what that is, the drug dealer on the corner, it's not that, the internet, it's not that, and the Kardashians, not that. But they're very susceptible to other influences. When they have a leader at home, they're not at all, right through the teen years, at all, because that strong leader is who makes them feel good about themselves. You're the one who brings out the best in them, and you give them pride. So you're the one that they're influenced by. So work on yourself. Work on your leadership skills. Check out my link above. I've got courses and coaching and all that stuff. Okay. Is there a link to that boot camp thing? Yeah, it's all above. There's 2 boot camps. You're literally the only one I follow on TikTok. And yes, that's a great point. I do that with the kids with sharing also. Yeah, the toys. Isn't that a good idea? It's yours for the first week and then it's everybody's. I just thought that was freaking brilliant. There you go. Sometimes I learn from my clients, right? If you're not learning, you may as well be dead. I love learning stuff. I had an aunt. They're all gone now. I'm the oldest generation in my family now. And my mom had two sisters. They were very close. They lived all near each other. They saw each other all the time. And but one of them, my Aunt Rose, my sweet, sweet lady, my darling Aunt Rose, she was so cute. She was in her 80s or something. And she said, well, and she talked like this, well, if I'm going to learn something new, I have to take something out of my head first because it's full to let something new in. We were all like, okay, like she figured she could never learn something new until she took something old out. So I guess she had a filing system in there and she'd pull out the Rolodex cards. I don't know how she did it, but isn't that cute? How to proceed with a 5-year-old kid that refuses to do the consequences given? Easy. I have 2 consequences. If they won't do the first one, which is the positive action, that's why there's a negative deprivation. Then you take something away. Oh, that's okay. You didn't have to sweep the floor. So 15 minutes is up now. 24-hour media blackout starts now. And make it happen. Once you set it, I don't care if they sweep the whole house. It's too late. No, 15 minutes is up because you had to do that chore within 15 minutes. It's on the board, right? Calm as anything. Just was your choice. So that's why there's 2 consequences. They can do the positive action, or you're going to impose the negative deprivation. Take something they love and use every day, take it away for 24 hours. Can you explain your toy rotation system? Okay. The way I did this was I just bundled everything up. My kids didn't have a lot of toys, and everything that I kept, even if they were given stuff, I didn't keep it a lot. I like them to only have stuff that started as nothing and turned into something when they were done with it, like blocks, something that they had to build and create, right? So I love like science projects, craft stuff, blocks, anything that they had to build. Anyway, so I loved all that. But what I did was the big stuff stayed out all the time, like the video games, the Lego, the Barbies, all the big stuff stayed out. But all the other stuff around that, there's always all those extra toys. That was all put away in boxes, and they could choose 5 things to keep out. And then I'd put the rest away. And then whenever they asked, it might be 2 or 3 months before my kids would even ask. Because we were kind of busy. We were out a lot doing stuff. So they might ask, oh, because the toys that they did have was a lot of creative stuff. So it kept them entertained. So they'd say, can we do a toy rotation? I'd say, sure. And then I'd pull down, or we'd take the 5 toys that they already had out, and then we'd take out 5 more. So, but I wouldn't do it more than once a week. Also, we were really lucky where we lived. We lived in Brisbane, Australia, and they had it attached in the back of the normal public library. They had what they called a toy library. So it was all free, and you could just take out, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. You could take out these they were like the big Fisher-Price doll houses, garages, or little slides, they were fantastic. So it was stuff that you could use outside or inside or whatever. And, but yeah, you have it for 2 or 3 weeks. So I did that pretty much every week. I went and got new stuff, and you could get like a couple things. It was all free. And if you don't have that in your area, a lot of people do. They've told me they do have those toy libraries in their area. But if you don't, approach the community center or the church or churches or even schools or preschools or something and say, are you interested? And you could actually have like a membership where people have to pay every month. So it could raise money for a church or something. But yeah. So look into that. It's a really good idea. I was always trying to keep stuff around that was kind of new. Kids don't want all that old crap. They just step all over it and make a mess. And they don't learn how to focus. So you want them to have a few things, but change it out every so often. And that's how they learn too. Also, when I pull out those old toys that they hadn't seen in a couple of months, they were older. They would play with them differently. So, because they were just that much older, right? It was quite interesting to see. And I thought, the last time that was out, they didn't play with it like that. They played quite differently. So yeah, maybe once a week at the most. I wouldn't do it any more than that. Okay, this one's a tough one. I'll read it out. My 5-year-old son was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes like days ago. How do I hold my ground with his medical needs, insulin shots, without damaging his mood further? I am so scared he's thinking this is all punishment for something. Okay, how old? 5. Yeah, that would be coaching. I would have to assess the situation, assess your relationship with him. I can't give you any really good advice other than I would get, there's lots of stuff out there, okay, like advice for this, but I would get him his own doll and his own little doctor set. And then while you're giving him his shot, he can give his doll or his little, whatever, action figure, whatever. He can give it. That evidently helps some kids. But if I really wanted to get into it, even then, I'll be honest, it's just something he's going to have to get used to. And it's not going to be pleasant, but he'll eventually learn. I don't think he'll hold it against you because he's 5. He can understand that this is a medical issue. Okay. And there's lots of stuff. I know there's lots of stuff out there because I have clients who do have children with medical issues. And they say there's lots of resources out there through hospitals, children's hospitals, on how to help kids through procedures. So they're a lot more equipped for that than I am. But yeah, anyway. So hope that was probably not very good advice, but anyway. It's been a rough week. Oh, yes, I can see that. Okay, Kimberly Denise, starting the 3rd week of boot camp. Is it normal for the first few weeks to feel like the kids are getting away with a ton of stuff? Yes and no. Depends how much they were doing to begin with. But often, if they think that all you're addressing is that behavior board, they often get worse with everything else. I might say to them, "Oh, that might be we'll deal with that in the future." So you point it out, but it's not going to help right now. You just focus on that behavior board, and you'll end up with 3 of them at the end of 3 weeks. You'll have 3 of them. Then you do the in the moment discipline is week 4. That's when you address everything. So yeah, if you're really struggling, go back and look at the whole course again and assess. Sometimes people have actually hired me. Like I don't go along with the course. There's no coaching attached to that course or anything, but people have actually hired me to coach, and they have the course. They use it as reference material, and there's just something that they're doing wrong that they weren't aware of. So I don't know, but go back and read the whole thing. You might see something. They go, "Oh, I forgot about that." There might just be something you're doing. You might look angry when you're disciplining. You might hold a grudge. Those things will make things worse. Yeah, you've got to, like, it's just a business. All discipline is a business transaction. The pool story must be in there somewhere. The pool story video. Anyway, look at that. You address bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. But yeah, it can go in a million different directions. Okay. But I actually pace that course out according to coaching, how it goes, because I've been doing this for 17 years. I have a pretty good idea of how things tend to go. It's just a general idea of progress for the majority of people. But often some people do really well in the 1st week. Some people struggle right up to the 5th week. So it just depends on the dynamics of your family too. But yeah, it gives you a lot of information to move forward with, but there's other extenuating circumstances too. Like if you've got a lot of problems dealing with your own emotions and you get angry at the kids, that will definitely hinder your success. So I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, you're not alone if you're still struggling. Lots of people are. And then sometimes it just all clicks. It'll be like one day and it all just clicks. That's quite common. Oh, how sweet. This is from Axe and Fleet. Oh, you've been here before. On YouTube. Such a good podcast. Watched 2/3 and 2 out of 3, I guess. And I found it really helpful. My daughter and I do it together. And it will eventually be on YouTube. I don't know when she's going to do that. She's just been flat out getting this done. And good for her. She does all that behind the scenes stuff. I'm lousy at all that stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to look at it now. It will be on YouTube eventually. So if you go on my website, it's the link above, and you look up podcast. Let me see. I'll know if, it is on YouTube now. Yeah. So she's put it on YouTube. But that's a picture. And there's a picture of my gorgeous daughter with me. She doesn't like being in front of the camera. Tell you, if I look like that, I would like to be in front of the camera, but she doesn't like that. So I can't believe she's doing it with me. I have a 5 and an 8-year-old, and they just simply do not listen until I feel like I'm yelling. Yeah, you yell because it works in the moment, or it's all that's working right now, but you know it's going to backfire eventually. Anyway, so check out my boot camp course. It teaches you how to be a leader. In the meantime, you can put down something simple that you want them to do or to stop doing. Like if they hit, you can put down no hitting. Or if you want them to put their shoes in the cubby when they come in from when you're out, put down put shoes in cubby within 10. You always have to put a time on it, within 10 minutes of arriving home or something like that. And that's how you start exercising your leadership. The behavior board is completely free. It will teach you how to set up a behavior board. That's just the training wheels and all this stuff. But it's starting to teach you how to be a leader. They'll learn how to listen. It's consequences that teach us all how to do the right thing. Think about it. If you don't pay your mortgage, they're going to foreclose on your house. If you don't pay for your groceries, they might catch you and throw you in jail. It's all consequences. We all lead. You just don't realize it. Every single day when you go out there in the world, everything's about consequences. You don't go out and pick your nose in public because it might be embarrassing, or maybe you don't care. But you see, it's all because it might be embarrassing. It's all consequences. Okay, that was another really bad analogy, the nose picking. But you already know I'm bad at analogy. That was a bad one. God, I'm bad at that. Anyway, oh well, I'm okay with that. I'm old, I don't care. When you get old, it's really hard to embarrass me. Okay. How would you correct bad behavior about throwing stuff out the school bus window and spitting in another child's face? You put down no, I would address the spitting in another child's face first. I would put no being mean to other people and say that includes spitting in another child's face. It's on the behavior board, but check out the boot camp course. It teaches you how to be a leader so that stuff doesn't happen. But if you just want to check out the behavior board, that's where you get started. And you put down no being mean to other people and then say that means spitting in their faces too, anything like that. So then there's a consequence. If they are. It was interesting. I had a client quite a while ago now, and they said something, I don't know why it's stuck in my mind, but they said something like, well, I don't want to, how did they word it? No being mean to other people was what I said with the rule. And they said, well, I don't want to put that on the behavior board because I don't want to call them mean. And I said, I guarantee you they already know it. Like it's no secret. If they're hitting other kids, they already know that they're mean. They already know that. So they didn't want to put the word mean as if that makes them mean. It doesn't. Allowing them to continue being mean is what makes them, their self-image become mean. You see what I'm saying? It just struck me as funny. They didn't want to put the word mean down. The kid already knows he's mean. It just struck me as funny. They were really against that. They put it on there eventually. Or they told me they did anyway. But yeah. Natural consequences are amazing teachers. What we can't teach them, life will. Yeah, but you got to give them a head start. That's the school of hard knocks. Yeah, I agree with that with a lot of stuff. Like I didn't go in and save the day with my kids once they started school. I said, you deal with it. You got a teacher that's being unreasonable or unfair, you deal with it. Like I didn't go in to save the day. We would discuss it and they'd come up with ideas on how they deal with things. And I'd say, yeah, that sounds good. But I always encourage them to solve their own problems. My mom was like that. Whenever I'd come to her, Mommy, what should I do? I don't know what to do. And she'd say, well, you're a smart girl. You can figure it out. And then we'd talk about it. I always thought I was coming up with all my own solutions. She was feeding me ideas. I might say, and I never told my kids what to do. I might say, I'll tell you what I did when I was your age. I can remember something like that happened with me. And this is what I did. You might want to try it. It might work for you. I don't know. What else do you think it would work? I was always trying to encourage them to problem solve. Because that builds pride. I was always trying to give my kids pride and high self-esteem. That was my goal. I wanted them to like themselves. And when you're the source of that, they just naturally want to please you because you make them feel good about themselves. Listen to the podcast. I love the fruit cup story. I'd forgotten about that. That was my daughter. I don't know which podcast that's on, but it was a good one. My daughter, she was such an easy kid. She doesn't like me talking about her being so easy because then she feels like, because she does all my videos. And every time I say she was the easiest kid in the world, she just was. She was born really easygoing. And then she goes, Mom, I have to keep scrolling. Like she will not put me complimenting her in one of my videos. So she goes, don't keep talking about me like that because then I have to cut. But anyways, she's going to cut this out. But she just was born really easygoing. But I caught her, didn't want the fruit cups, so I found a whole stash of them that she told me she'd eaten. She was about 3. And she'd put them in the potato and onion box in the pantry. And they were all moldy and rotten by the time I found them. And as soon as I went, oh my God, when I was in the pantry, she knew right away. That was great. That's the only time she remembers being disciplined. That was it. The fruit cup story, that was a good one. Actually, we had a lot of fun doing the podcast. She's getting used to it, but I'm used to, talking about all this stuff. She's really private. So she's not used to talking about stuff, but we're getting into it. It was a lot of fun. And we've got all that mother-daughter stuff. Like we're very careful when we're talking online, obviously, but all that mother-daughter comfort level stuff. I sometimes think, gee, I wonder if we're going to get too comfortable during the podcast. Because you can just imagine what we talk about. Okay, good question, and I agree. Kara on YouTube. Oh, sugar, I'm out of time. I got to go over to Instagram, but I'll read that over on Instagram. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can see my courses, my coaching, and my new podcast, and the free behavior board. Anyway, I got to go over to Instagram. Thanks so much for joining me. Darn it. Why am I always late? I'm always late to Instagram. Dummy. Okay. I go from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, but I'm always late on Instagram. Come on. Okay. Now this is where I lost the question. Oh, now this is from Kara Davis. It's a very good question, and I want to answer it because you're right. It was confusing. I'm wanting to raise my boys to be able to talk about emotions. Just do it for myself to them. Kind of lost. No, when you're a leader, they will come and tell you everything. You work on your leadership skills. You make sure you're a really safe place to land. And don't give advice. When someone just unloads on you and tells you something, you show empathy and understanding. And then don't try and give advice every time because it sort of stops the conversation. So yeah, if a kid comes to me and tells me, and you wouldn't believe the stuff kids have told me, especially teenagers, they just unload everything on me. And I go, that would be frustrating. Yeah. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. Sometimes they just want to unload. And if they think you're going to try and solve their problems, especially boys, they'll often stop talking to you because they don't want you to solve the problems. They just want you to be a good ear to talk to. Okay. So yeah, but you don't bring it up with kids so much. You got to read the room too. You got to say, hey, do you want to talk about something? I don't dig. If they want to talk, they will. But my kids told me pretty much everything. Yeah. And never look emotional when they're telling you something that's upsetting them. Like it's hard. Sometimes they'll tell you something that someone's hurt their feelings or something. And you just, it's painful listening, but you just go, that would be frustrating. I remember I went through that too when I was your age, and I know it can be very frustrating. So yeah, I'm here, and then they'll ask your advice if they want it. So be careful not to become the problem solver because it shuts them down. Yeah. Okay. Did that help? That was Kara. Kara Davis on YouTube. Anyway, welcome. I know I'm late for Instagram. I'm terrible for that. I get yabbering on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Anyway, my name is Lisa. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Check out the link above. You can see free behavior board, a bunch of courses, coaching, and now I've got a podcast. So the podcast just released today. It's going really well, better than we expected. So yeah, thanks so much for your support. Really appreciate it. And anyway, oh yeah, I was just going to say what the podcast is. It's BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And the 3 episodes that were released today, just brand new, was What is Leadership Parenting, Toddler Tantrums, and Consequences. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So anyway, welcome to the live. I appreciate you being here. This is one of my regularly scheduled lives. And so yeah, we're very excited about the podcast. My daughter and I are doing it together. So, which is, as a mother, you can just imagine. She works with me, but she's behind the scenes. And now she's more coming in front of the scenes. She's more, if I see a microphone, I'm just like magnetized towards it, or, but she's not like that at all. She's more humble, more. So to get her on this podcast I'm pretty happy about it. Pretty excited. She likes the behind the scenes. Do you have any books on parenting you recommend? Well, I've never read a book on. I invented all this. Everything I talk about, I made up. So through kids, right? Kids taught me all this. I've never written a book, and I've never read a book on kids or parenting. So why would I? Because kids taught me all this. So yeah, I can't recommend anything. But I've got my courses and my free behavior board. And I got thousands and thousands of videos out there. My 3-year-old son pulled his pants down at school today. Well, this is the time to talk about private parts. So you say, okay, there's nothing wrong with private parts, but they're private. It's like going to the bathroom. You don't do that in front of people either. And I usually say picking your nose and going to the bathroom. They're private, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're completely natural. So yeah, and say next time that happens, there'll be a consequence. Okay, so just say it's just private. Nothing wrong with your bum or anything. Oh God, I got to tell you a funny story. But yeah, so you don't want to shame him, but you want to say it's private. Anyway, years ago, obviously my son's 34, he's almost 35 now. And he was 3 years old and he had just seen a girl naked. It was a friend came over and they were all in the kiddie pool together, right? So he had just seen this little girl naked for the very first time. He'd never seen a naked little girl before. So, and I could see it. He was checking her out. He was just like, what's going on there? And anyway, so later on, and, they're gone and, I'm making dinner and he comes in the kitchen. He goes, Mommy? And I said, yes, sweetie. And he says, boys and girls are different, right? And I tried not to go like this. Yeah, because I knew it was going to be funny, but I just went, uh-huh. And he says, because boys and girls are, how they always repeat everything right away. Boys and girls are different because boys have a bum in the back and a penis in the front. And I went, mm-hmm, just dying. And he says, but girls, they have a bum in the back and a tiny little bum in the front. That's when I lost it. Started laughing. Anyway, is that the cutest thing? It's kind of true. Tiny little bum in the front. No wonder why I love parenting. It was a blast. I'll tell you another funny thing my son said. He was 8 years old. And this was when I realized this kid's fun. Humor is so important, right? To me anyway. And he had a cute sense of humor. But the first time I realized, oh, this kid's just got it. He came home and he says, he was 8. And he says, Mom, there's a new kid in school. And he's from South Africa, I think. And his name was John, like it was spelled John, but he pronounced it Jean or something like it was pronounced different. And he says, so he doesn't say his name right. He says it Jean. And I said, well, sweetie, I said, and I'll change my son's name when I tell the story. But I said, sweetie, I said, it's his name. He can pronounce it any way he wants. And my son, like that, said, okay, my name is Ryan, but it's pronounced Braveheart. I thought, brilliant. I thought that was so clever. Wish I'd thought of that. Anyway, so yeah, I love humor. Okay, I don't tend to answer this question anymore because I don't like it. It upsets me. When kids are abusing animals, either protect the animal somehow, teach the kid how not to I can't help you with that. Like if you can't keep an animal safe in your home, you remove them from the animal or remove the animal from them. If they're even going to go near the animal, then rehome it. Even if it's temporary. I love animals. I love kids, but I don't want either one of them to be abused. So I would rehome the animal. No kidding, I would. My kids learned right from day one, you do not pick up the dog. She's a little, what was she, Maltese that we had at the time. And or run past the bird cage loudly because it would scare the bird, right? So, and they just learned from a very young age. If they didn't, I would have rehomed the pets. If I couldn't handle them and manage them to be respectful, I would have rehomed the pets. So yeah, that's why I don't tend to answer that. It just upsets me. I just don't like it. Tiny little bum in the front. That was a good one, wasn't it? Actually, I told that. I did a TEDx talk and I said that. I got the biggest laugh was that one. That's not true. I did another. No, I think that was the biggest laugh. I did another one too. Yeah, it's kind of a long story, but it was funny too. It was similar. Anyway, kids are a riot. What do you do when you tell a 3 to 7-year-old to stop doing something and they do it anyway and they keep doing it and you explain why they need to stop? You're doing the therapy sessions? Well, I don't do that. You've just gone down in the leadership stuff and they know it. They're walking all over you. You don't need to explain it. They either understand it or they don't need to understand it. Them understanding why they shouldn't do something is not why they do it. Does that make sense? It's not a lack of understanding that makes kids do naughty things. They just do it because they want to. So don't do all this therapy session stuff with them. It just does nothing. So just say, I don't want you to do that again. If they already know not to do it, then I would say, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get you to sweep the floor for doing that. Okay? And it's 10 minutes. You got to sweep the floor. If they don't, say, okay, 24-hour media blackout starts now. Check my behavior board. It'll teach you how to do this stuff. It's the training wheels with all this stuff. Or you can look into the boot camp courses. That's sort of next level. Okay. And check out my podcast. It's just brand new today. It's going really well. So it's on my website. It's up in the link above. Just check, click the link and it'll turn up. That goes to my website. And it's right in the front page. It's very exciting. We've got 3 of them out, and they are, the first one is What is Leadership Parenting? The second one is Toddler Tantrums. And the third one is Navigating Consequences as a Parent. It's funny because I was convinced that the tantrum one was going to be the number 1. It's right behind in downloads. It's right behind the first one. So I guess people tend to watch them in order. So they listen to the first one. So it's kind of catching up now, but I think that tantrum one will be the biggest one that I've released today anyway. We'll be releasing one every Tuesday. Okay, my 5-year-old son always says to me, I guess I'll never have nothing. You don't love me. I didn't do anything. Right, every time I discipline him. So just go, whatever. Yeah, don't buy into that manipulation. He's just manipulating you. He's going like this and he's reeling you in. He's controlling you. Yeah, he's manipulating you. Anything said in anger at not getting their own way is just manipulation. Just go, okay, alrighty then, and just walk away and do the dishes or whatever you're going to do. Don't discuss it. If you discuss it, you're feeding it. That's what he wants. He wants you to get upset. He's trying to upset you. Is it working? Probably. Don't let it. I just go, whatever, and walk away. Alrighty then, and walk away. They will get worse before they get better because they remember the old you that bought into that. I would probably just come in and do it once and they go, oh, she knows what she's doing. I don't have history with them. You've got history of not doing that. So yeah, they're going to get worse before they get better usually. Just follow through. My almost 4-year-old started screaming because I laid in his brother's bed first to read a book. I just continued to read the book with him screaming. Do I just continue to ignore the tantrum? Not in that situation. It's bedtime and they're tired. I would get in the bed with both of them. Like, I don't know why you're in one. Why are you in one bed? Why are you not cuddling up to both of them when you're reading? Yeah, I would go to one bed or the other and change nights. One bed, one night, the next, or be in the little kid's bed first, or always probably. Because it's easier to move a bigger kid than a little kid, or whichever kid's easier, go in the other bed. So yeah, I wouldn't do it that way. I would have them both on either side of me and reading to them. How do you feel about the saying all behavior is communication? I agree, but not all communication has to be validated, right? You don't need to validate a tantrum. It's ridiculous. It is communication. Yep, you're absolutely right. You don't need to validate all communication, though. Okay. Some of my clients are child psychologists. They'll try and argue with me on that stuff. Yeah. Another one that is really common for them to argue is, or debate, is what is it? That I say praise does not get good behavior. It's at all. Praising children does not get good behavior. That positive reinforcement garbage, it's garbage. Okay, let me think of an example of this. I know you can do it. You're such a good boy. I know you're not going to do that. I know it makes you sound like you're begging. It also makes it sound like they're normally rotten. And when you praise them, it's not their love language anyway. Playing is their love language. Praise they don't care about it. You think they do, but they don't. You look at an example. You got a 5-year-old little boy, and you say to that little boy, you're wonderful, you're special, you're the greatest kid in the world, you can do whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to go do the dishes now. Look at his face. Now you say to that same 5-year-old little boy, hey, what are you doing? Can I play too? Look at his face. Which is powerful there? Praise? He doesn't care about it. Play? Big difference. Praise does not get good behavior. It doesn't even make them feel good. It doesn't do much for them. Their love language is play. I don't let anyone in my life. I only did it once years ago. It was a disaster. And I was brand new. I didn't know how to get rid of them. I had like 20,000 people in that live, and they were trying to sell to my audience. They just wanted my audience. It was awful. Plus, I can't control other people, and I'm here just to serve you. So, yeah. 5-year-old will not share any information about their day at school. How do I get them to open up? You mean you want the therapy session? They don't tell you anything. They get in the car after school. What'd you do today? Nothing. It comes out eventually. Don't keep digging. Let them organically tell you. It'll come out. If you're a good leader and you're a good listener, it'll come out. But don't force it. They don't remember. They just came out of school and you're drilling them on it. It's like a pop quiz. What happened today? Nothing. They don't want to talk about it. They're just coming down from school. So don't keep them there. Let them come down. Would love to do an episode on how to build a child's confidence. Self-esteem and confidence are two different things. They can go together or they don't have to. Look at it this way. You can have a child with low self-esteem, but a lot of confidence. They can get up and do theater. They can get up and speak, do public speaking. They have tons of confidence. They're very popular, but they can have very low self-esteem. A child with very high self-esteem can be shy. They don't want to get up and do theater. They don't have a lot of friends, but they think they're pretty great. They love themselves. So they're very different. I'm just differentiating. But yeah, if you could put that in we do ask for feedback. It'll be coming up. My daughter will be asking for feedback. I think it's on Instagram. She'll be doing a story. I don't know what a story is, but I think she put it in stories. We'll be asking for your feedback for future podcasts. But yeah, that would be a good one. So if you could just sort of keep an eye out. Are we on Instagram? Yeah, we're on Instagram now, I think. Yeah, I'm looking at the time. I can't tell where I am by this. But yeah, so we will be asking for ideas because it's all coming from you. Although we've already got 8 episodes in the can all ready to go. So it wouldn't be for a while now because they're only going to go out once a week. And 3 of them were released today, the very first 3. But yeah, that's a very good one. But I could talk about it now. I just thought of that. Ooh, duh. I could bring it up now. How you build self-esteem comes from having a leader as a parent. They tend to really like themselves because you bring out the best in them. So by being a leader, you bring out self-esteem in your children, high self-esteem. Okay. Confidence is a little bit different. Confidence, I made sure my kids, I threw them into every situation I could think of. I said, you have to try everything, but you don't have to continue with anything. You have to do one extracurricular activity a semester, though. Like I made them do something till they hit high school, then it was up to them. But I did force them to go out. They could go out and talk to anyone. So I taught them that by putting them out in situations where they had to mingle and learn how to talk to people. So yeah, you're pushing them outside of their comfort zones. That's good for all of us. We're made to go towards comfort zones. That's how we're just made as humans, to stay in our comfort zones. But you don't learn, you don't grow, you don't change if you don't get out of your comfort zone. So I was always pushing my kids to do that. Yeah. So that's how you build confidence. I have a potty training course if you're interested in that. It's called Potty Party, something like that. I can't remember. It's in the link above. Everything I have is in the link above. I think it's just my website. Everything leads you, just click buttons where you're going. Yeah, my daughter just upgraded my website. She worked on all this for a very long time. If a 4-year-old is screaming inconsolable tantrums, do I ignore at this age? I don't know why at 4 they're still having those tantrums. They usually outgrow them because past the age of 4, they only do what works. So you might want to check out my boot camp course. It teaches you how to be a leader. Once you're a leader, you address bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. The tantrums just kind of go away because they only do what works. So yeah, you still ignore them, but why are they still having, why are you trying to console them? You said inconsolable tantrums. All tantrums are inconsolable. The only way that you can console a tantrum and stop it is to give them what they want. I want a cigarette. 4 years old. Oh, here you go. You can have a cigarette. That's the only thing that's going to console a tantrum. You can't console them anyway. Or if you can, you're giving into their demands, which you don't want to do. So yeah, could go in a million different directions. I don't know what's going on in your house. I kind of have to assess that. Sorry, I'm just going to get something. had ice on my drink and now it's dripping all over the place. Okay. And if you've been watching me for a while, you probably know by now I'm not OCD, but I'm very fussy. But I'm not OCD. Self-diagnosed, not OCD. Because it doesn't make me crazy. Close. Okay. Oof, okay. I was worried I was going to be late for TikTok. Oh, thanks so much for your support on here. We reached 500,000 here on Instagram last Tuesday, I think it was. So today's Wednesday. So that was like 8 days ago. So thanks so much for that. It's just an unbelievable number. Yeah, it's hard to relate to that. TikTok's actually my biggest platform. But yeah, Instagram's kind of catching up to TikTok. So I can't relate to that at all. At all. You know, I first came online 2.5 years ago and I did it on TikTok all by myself. My daughter wasn't helping me. She got me on Instagram and Facebook. Anyway, and I was in my bathroom holding my camera, shaking and just talking about parenting. And that's how I blew up overnight on TikTok, just in my bathroom with a shaky camera talking about parenting. I couldn't believe it. I thought TikTok was just 12-year-olds dancing. I didn't know. My daughter kept pushing me to go on TikTok. But yeah, I've just had a blast on here. So, and when you've got, a good following now, when you get a good following, it just inspires you to keep turning up because you're helping people. I'm in the caring field. This is my mission in life. This is my legacy. I love helping parents. I don't just want you to raise good kids. I want you to enjoy your parenting. I want you to enjoy the journey, because if you're not finding joy in parenting, you're missing out. It was the most fun I ever had. I loved it. It was the most joyful, fun, laughing time of my whole life, was raising those two gorgeous kids. So I miss it, I mean, I've found other things obviously in my life, but I miss it. I was made for that and I just loved it. So yeah, parenting can be very joyful. You just got to set up your leadership so you never have to discipline. They're self-disciplined. You never tell your kids what to do. They just know what to do and they do it. If they don't, they know mom's got a consequence for them. And it was usually just brushing my hair. So they hated brushing my hair. It was no big deal. My daughter said, well, the reason why I never had to discipline them is if they ever did anything out of line, I just would look at them. And that was all. Mom's look. My mom had that too. Mom's look. She didn't use it often enough. I got away with too much, but I can't control how I was parented. But my mom was still, if she used the look, I listened. So yeah, she had the look. Okay, I'm going to go over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses, toddlers and older kids. I've got my podcast out now. The first 3 episodes were released this morning. So they are on, the first one is leadership parenting. The second one is tantrums. And the last one is consequences. So, and they're doing really well. Actually, tantrum one is catching up to leadership parenting, which is the first one. So I predict the tantrum one will be pretty popular. But yeah, we're blown away by how well it's going. So thanks so much for your support there. And you can look into coaching. I usually can get back to you within a week lately. I know it was really rough over the summer. If you tried to get into coaching back then, it was like 6 to 8 weeks before I could take a new client. But right now it's like a week. So it's a really good time. Anyway, I'm going over to TikTok. You can join me over there. And I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where I save all my lives. Happy parenting. I swear, there's so many buttons to push. They've added an extra button on Instagram and TikTok with lives in the last 6 months. Okay, that's a lot of work, pushing buttons. Actually, my thumbs, because I'm online so often, my thumbs are always numb, especially my right thumb. Or is it my left one? No, I think it's my right one. Anyway. Okay, just waiting for everyone to turn up. Sort of try and take a break between platforms. Just save my voice. So I'm just looking at the podcast. We got a lot more downloads than we expected to get. So very happy with that. And I hope it's helping people. I hope people love podcasts. I don't know much about them. Every time I'm on a podcast, I'm listening to it. I never know who I'm listening to. Next thing you know, someone else is doing another podcast. I have no idea. I don't know why. I've just got a mental block. I can't figure out who I'm listening to. I'm going to have to study that to figure it out. And Lord knows I'll never listen to myself. It's agony listening to myself talk. Any advice for a mom of a teen who is tired of inconsistent parenting? Be consistent. Also, I'm going to read out, I don't have a course on teenagers, but I do have my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. That's my specialty. They're my favorite age. Okay, number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If a teenager wants your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible with a teenager. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Negotiate. When you come at them with this level of respect, depending on how deteriorated your relationship is, but usually they come back with something really fair. Number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with a teenager. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. It's not a big deal. Okay, don't sweat the small stuff. Let them make mistakes just like you did, just like you do. Okay, it's okay to not be perfect. And that's how they're learning. You want them to exercise their own freedom. They're learning how to be their own leaders. So you've got to give them some length, right? Number 4 is don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. Often in coaching, I'll say this to parents. Well, not often, I always say this. Once I teach you how to start connecting with your teenager, don't leverage those good times to discuss all the ways they've disappointed you over the last 2 years. I'm so glad we're getting along because life's just been hell with you. Literally, parents will say stuff like that. Sorry, something just came up on my screen. Anyway, so don't, and then they can't figure out why the teenager gave them the finger and left the room because you just brought up all the bad stuff, all the ways they've disappointed you. Here they were letting you into their world. You were bonding with them, and then you used it against them. So yeah, that's my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. Listening to understand and show empathy, negotiate as much as possible, don't sweat the small stuff, and don't leverage good times to discuss the bad times. Okay. Oh. The only reason that people think teenagers are difficult is that parents often don't know how to transition their parenting style to the teen years. It's different. It just is. You're a leader till they're about 12. Or you're not a leader with toddlers. You're trying. You're exercising some leadership, but they don't really get it till they're 3. So between 3 and 12 years old, that's when you're at the height of your leadership. That's when they respect you and they want to please you. When they're a teenager, you want them to be their own leader. They're transitioning into their own leadership. And you want to support that, but you're there for the big stuff. But let them make a lot of mistakes. Be there for them. But the mistakes, if the big one, then you have to step in. But yeah, they're becoming their own leaders. It's just parents just don't transition easily into that. And if you're going to take parenting advice from someone, I've often said this, and I really believe this. It is so experience-based. The person has to have finished the job with their own kids. How can they possibly teach parenting if they don't know where it's going? If you don't know how to get yourself into the teen years effectively, because there's a process, right? It's a slow burn how you get into those teen years. You got to have lived with teenagers to really get it. So anyway, that, and also that person has to have had experience with hundreds of other kids, because I didn't learn much with my own kids. I got respect when they were little and sailed right through the teen years, but it's all the delinquent teenagers, all the kids with all the challenges, all the behavioral issues I worked with. That's where I really learned all this stuff. How to make them feel good about themselves so they want to please me. Or when they're teenagers, how to make them feel good about themselves so they don't want to disappoint me and they want to please themselves. They have to have that. If you're taking parenting advice from someone who hasn't finished the job, it's like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. It frustrates the heck out of me, because what works with a 7-year-old does not work with a 17-year-old. If they don't know how to set you up for the teen years, watch out. It frustrates me because I have to fix all this damage that's done out there, right? People come to me and they've been given this advice that just well meant, but not experience-based. And then I have to fix it up. It's quite frustrating. Can we friend each other? No, I don't friend anyone in here. No. You see, I don't follow or friend anyone in here. And I never let anyone in on a stream, ever, ever. I'm here to serve people, not to give other people a platform. I did it once. I let someone in on a live once, and it was a disaster. It was a really big one. It was like 20,000 people in the live. and they came in and just started talking about their business. They were trying to sell to my audience. So I was brand new. I didn't know how to get rid of them. And I said, we're here to talk about parenting. Oh, I'm just introducing myself. Yeah, right. I wasn't born yesterday. Are flashcards a good way to teach a 1-year-old? I don't like accelerated learning, but it's not a black and white issue. It's a gray area. It's a personal choice. I don't like it. I have my reasons, but a lot of people do. So they got enough time to learn. Just play, run, get in the mud pile, play with them. Yeah. Why would you want to accelerate them? And then they're going to be bored when they start school because they've already learned that. And then they end up getting a bad feeling about school. And then they struggle all through the years because you can't figure out why. Yeah. Because they had a rough start because they were accelerated. And now they're bored when they go to class and everyone else is learning the alphabet and they've already learned it. And then they learn to goof off in class because they're bored. And then they struggle for years after that. Not always the way it goes, but it's quite common. And you can't make a kid stupid by playing in the mud. There are other, you can't make them smart. You can't make them stupid. They're born with a certain brain power. You can certainly exercise it. They can learn a lot, but some kids their brain just works really efficiently. And and others that can still be better students than the kid who is gifted. And, so yeah, don't worry too much about that stuff. I could go on about that. I've got a lot of experience with kids who've been accelerated. And I've seen a lot. I've been working with kids for 52 years now, so I've seen a lot. And like I said, it's a gray area though. Like it's a personal opinion more than anything. Okay, this is a bit of a tell. Someone said, how do you deal with a 2-year-old that acts up more in public? She behaves better at home. That says to me that you are embarrassed to discipline when you're out. That's what that says to me. So you're a different parent when you're out. So if you were the same parent, they'd be the same kid. So yeah, it says to me that you're a little bit too embarrassed to lay down the law when you're out. Am I right? Do you have a course for teenagers? I always said I'll never have a course for teenagers. And the reason why I actually decided I will, I just don't have time right now because we just launched the podcast and we got other stuff coming up. So I will eventually have one on teenagers. You know why I always said I'd never have a course on teenagers? Because I specialize in teen crisis work. So I can't do a course on that. And then I realized most parents with teenagers aren't in crisis. So yeah, I will do a general parenting course for if you're raising teenagers. I will get that hopefully in 2025. But yeah, I will do that. It'll be a boot camp for parents of teenagers, all the general stuff. But if they're in crisis, and you know what I mean by crisis, the dangerous life stuff, life and death stuff, then that would always be coaching. But that because I specialize in teen crisis work, I thought, well, I can't do a course on crisis. I don't have to. I always had that block in my mind that I'll never do a course on teenager. That's why I started my business was teen crisis work. I loved it. They're my favorite age by far. My daughter's 5 and has gifted tendencies. She's trying us out in so many situations. Any advice? Well, my son was gifted and I still was the leader. Just because they're smart doesn't make them able to manipulate you. I don't quite understand that. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Just treat her like every other kid. Just be a leader. And my son was always smarter than me. I mean, there's no two ways about it. But I always felt kind of sorry for him because when you're gifted, you're always going to be the smartest one in the room. So he's surrounded by imbeciles. But he's not, they're not smart in every single way. Like, you know what I mean? Like their brains just work differently. My son's a brilliant problem solver and a really good decision maker. He's just good at it. He says, I'd rather make a bad decision than no decision. Whereas I tend to go the no decision. I'm procrastinating, pedantic and all, but it doesn't make them better people at all. It's just, he just happens to have a brain that works more efficiently, but he still could never manipulate me. And he never used it for evil because he couldn't manipulate me. So you're giving that child too much credit. Indonesia, hello. I have clients all over the world. And it's quite funny. I have this just quite funny. I keep trying to, like, I'm trying to schedule these families in. I have a lot of Jewish clients, and I keep, it was funny, this one client, I kept trying to schedule them on a Friday night, and I you think I would remember. And there's, remember, Lisa, we're Jewish. And so stupid. I keep trying to schedule them on Friday night, but I've just learned so much about different cultures and different religions and different ceremonies and how you treat the elders. Like one family, they had multi-generations living in one big giant mansion, basically. And so, I won't say where, but in this country, somewhere else. And I said, well, the grandparents keep interfering. And I said, well, just say to them, look, we're the parents here. You know, as grandparents, you can play with them and that, but just let us parent. And they said, no, we can't talk like that to our elders. I thought, wow. So I had to respect that and work within the cultural boundaries. I love all that. I've learned so much about different cultures just because talking through parenting, because people are really raw and genuine, and you get to really know people. And you know what I've learned about different countries? We're all exactly the same. We all want the same things. We all want to love. We all want to be loved. We want to feel respected. We want to feel purpose. And we all are exactly the same, no matter where you come from. So I've just learned so much about cultures. I have so much respect for them. There's differences everywhere, but we're basically all the same. Oh, wow. I just started implementing your tantrum tactics today. By the end of the day, they were less. Wow, one day. It can work that way. It also sometimes doesn't. The older they get, the longer it takes usually. But good for you. Check out my podcast was released today. We threw out 3 of them right away, the first 3 episodes. And anyway, check that. It's going really well. The first one is on what is leadership parenting. The second is toddler tantrums. And the last is navigating consequences. Everyone always wants to ask about consequences. So yeah, we did that. And there's one coming up. We've already done a whole bunch of them. And there's one coming up, something I hate talking about. And I'm pretty sure I would have said that right at the very start. One of my least favorite topics, but I get asked about it all the time. So yeah, that one will be coming up. I think it's the next one, number 4. I'm not sure though. So, but yeah, the podcast is just what you want to hear. So people send in, and it will be on Instagram. I think my daughter's doing it, I think, in a story. So when we need it, we've already got a whole bunch of them done, but when we need more podcast ideas, it'll all come from you, because we're here to serve you with the podcast. So it's what you want to hear, and not always what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the psychology behind leadership parenting, the psychology of why you do this and that, but that's not, you want to know, what do I do? And yeah, so that's what I have to do. That's why when I get child psychologists as clients, they want to know the psychology behind it all. And I'm like drooling. Okay, well, this is why we do this. I love all the psychology behind it. I've been studying this for decades, and I don't understand a lot of things, but I understand kids and teenagers. I just get it. What age is a toddler? I don't know, but to me, it's 16 to 35 months. That's what I call a toddler. 15 months and under is a baby. 3 to 12 is a child. 9 to 12 is tweens, but 3 to 12 is sort of more a child. 13 to 18 is teenager. The podcast is in the link above. That's my website. It's right on the front page. It'll take you to all. It has courses, coaching, live Q&As, which is what this is, and then podcast. And the podcast now, they're on YouTube, so you can watch it. My daughter does it with me. We have 2 cameras set up, and so you can actually watch it on YouTube. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing it. So anyway. How do I stop my child from pointing at me and saying no? She learned it from another kid. She's 3. I would start with this. If she does that, I would say, whatever, and walk away. alrighty then, and just walk away. If you look angry, she just won. She's doing it to get under your skin. So yeah, and she wouldn't do that if you were a leader. So work on your leadership skills. You do that by stuff like this. You ignore stuff like that. If it gets out of control, there's other things you can do. And look at the behavior board. The behavior board's completely free. It's in the link above, and it'll teach you how to start exercising your leadership skills by getting organized. You get rules and consequences for every member of the family, and it just teaches you how to follow through. And it's most of what I teach is based on connecting with kids. Discipline's a tiny part of all this. Leadership is more about connecting and bonding with your kids. So, and that's what you'll see when you look at the behavior board, you'll get it. It's about your consequences. You'll see what I mean. If you look at the behavior board. What's the podcast called? It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and it's on Apple, Spotify. Actually, is on somewhere else too. I saw this and I thought, what the heck is that? Oh, Amazon Music. A few people have found it on there. We try. Oh, that's the Alexa, right? We told her, and she came out every time we'd say BratBusters Parenting Podcast. She'd come out with Blockbusters, and I was saying it BratBusters, and I don't know how people are finding it on Alexa because it sure isn't working with us. But anyway, so yeah, it's mostly Apple Podcasts and Spotify is where you can find it. BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's going really well. It's day one. Hasn't even been out. Well, we released it yesterday early just to make sure it was up there, but it was sent out as an announcement just today, and it's far surpassed anything we thought that was gonna happen. So yeah, we're just thank you for your support, and we hope it's helping because that's what we're here for, right? Do you have a book we can read? No, I don't have a book right now, and I've never read one on kids or parenting or anything either, so I couldn't even recommend one. I only teach from experience. So, but yeah, I have thousands and thousands of videos, and I have courses, and then I have a podcast now. So got lots of information. I'm hoping to write a book. I was hoping for next year. Now I'm wondering it might be longer because we've got just a lot coming up. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to release a book. I actually kind of feel ready for it, but not really, because I'm not itching to do it yet, like because we got so many other things that I am itching to do that I'm excited about. But yeah, it'll come up one day. Will you have a free board for teenagers? The behavior board is for all ages past 3 years old, 3 years old and up. It's for all ages. Some of my clients have taken it to work and they call it just a accountability chart or something. It's for everybody. The boss is on there too. So yeah, it's just an accountability chart for all ages. You can just call it a rule chart, or I don't know. With teenagers, we don't call it a behavior board. Just call it whatever you want. Say accountability chart's usually pretty good. You're on there too, so you have to be. If you're not on there, you're not a leader. You're a dictator. You have to be on there. But with that said, sometimes when I'm hired by different cultures, they'll say, no, the father cannot be on there. He's the head of the family. He's not accountable. It's just cultural difference. Doesn't mean he's a dictator, but it's just different cultures. They usually get on there because you'll see what I mean. It's about connecting with the kids more than anything. The podcast is on Spotify, yes, and Apple Podcast. If you go on the link above, you can connect. You can actually listen to it right on my website, I think. And then you can also watch it on YouTube and listen to it. Yeah, you can listen to it right on my website if you want. Okay. How do you move from week 3 of behavior board to be on the spot discipline? So it's in the moment discipline is when you address everything right in the moment. So once the behavior boards are just teaching tools. And you're starting to get some respect by doing that. So it's teaching you how to be a leader. And then, but after that, you can still use the behavior boards, but your focus is not on them anymore. You can just talk about rules and consequences. So you just put down, okay, so you got 3 behavior boards. And then by week 4, you go, when they do something naughty, you say, okay, I didn't like that. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you sweep the floor after school when we get home. Okay. And I'll give you 15 minutes to do that. So that's how it's done. You address everything. Now, if they have a really bad day and they do 20 things wrong, I would say, I'll tell you what, today wasn't so great, was it? You did this and you did that. Just name a couple things. So you did a few things that, you were just kind of out of it today. So we're just going to go straight to media blackout. Do you understand? And you say it like that. And when you've said it, it's happening. As soon as it's out of your mouth, that timer, 24-hour timer has started. So that's how it's done. Very hard. Like that's what I would do. I would never use a behavior board. It's just something I invented to teach parents how to start doing this. And it's just teaching you how to get organized with all this stuff. So yeah, I only ever did in the moment discipline. It's just right in the moment, you deal with it. Now you can defer the punishment if you don't know what you're doing. You can think, oh geez, what am I going to do with this? You say, I didn't like that. I'll tell you what, we'll discuss it after school. Or I'll tell you what, I didn't like that. So we'll discuss it after dinner. It gives them time to sweat and you time to think. And then after, you got to do it right after dinner. Say, remember you did that. And I said, we'll discuss it after dinner. We're going to discuss it now. So I've decided I'm going to get you to help me with the laundry tonight. And then that's it. If they won't do it, don't go on about then you'll get 24-hour media blackout if you don't. Don't say that. Just say, I'm going to get you to help me with the laundry. Okay, so let's go now and do it. And if they don't come and help you with the laundry, then say, okay, well, you didn't help me with the laundry. So no screens for 24 hours, or take away their favorite toy or something. But yeah, that's in the moment discipline. But you got to have some experience with the behavior board first. I never start there. When I first started coaching, that's where I started, was in the moment discipline. I didn't have a behavior board for the first year. It's one thing to know how to do something, but it's quite another to teach it. Over the last 17 years, I've learned how to teach it. But the first year was kind of rough because I was teaching in the moment discipline. And the parents weren't understanding that they also were accountable. Then I invented the behavior board and put the parents on it. Evidently, other parenting experts are using my behavior board now. I mean, maybe they invented it themselves too, but not until recently. So yeah, it's like, I'm happy. They're, it'd be nice if they gave me credit for it, but yeah, it's a good thing. You got to be accountable, or else you're not a leader. You're just an authority. And you don't want that. You want to be a leader. Okay. Do we double and double, go to 48, 4 days? No, never, 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 never. You only go 24. And then if they keep doing rotten things, say, well, that's why you've got media blackout. You can't keep doubling it. It's just, it's fear-based parenting when you do that. I think I only did that once with one client, and I can't remember the circumstances. It was something really unusual, and we only did it. I think I've only ever done that once with a client when we did 48 hours. And I don't even know if we did. I think we just, I said you got to threaten 48. But I don't remember why on earth would I have done that, because it goes against what I normally teach. Anyway, do you always warn before consequence? Never. In other words, it's okay to do that once. If they know it's naughty, there's no warning. I didn't like that. Here's your consequence. That's what you do. If they don't know it's naughty, which is very unusual, if they've got some like mental disability or something, and they really don't understand that what they just did was naughty, then you can say, okay, that was naughty. If you do that again, there'll be a consequence. But they all know when they've done something naughty. No, I address it right then. No. Yeah, I don't give warnings. It makes you look weak. Okay, if you do that again, I'm afraid to discipline you now, but if you do that again, I'll have to do something. That's how it kind of comes across. I would say, ooh, didn't like that. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to have you help me wash the windows this afternoon, okay? That's how I do it. It's always sort of like, tell you what we're going to do. It's always sort of like calm, but I'm in charge, right? Whereas if you go, you do that again, please don't do it again, because I don't want to have to do anything. It's weak. It's very weak. And would you apply consequences for not listening? They don't listen because you're not a leader. You fix yourself and they'll listen. No, you never do. Because what you're doing is, oh, I'm going to have to punish you for not respecting me. See what I mean? There's circumstances around that. But generally, not listening is a sign that you're not a leader. So you got to work on yourself. Yeah, we're not fixing kids here. We're fixing parents. I teach parenting, not kidding. They're just reacting to you. They don't respect you, so they're not listening. So that's a sign that you got to work on yourself. You might want to check out the boot camp courses. The 3 to 12-year-old teaches in 5 weeks. It goes through 5 weeks of how to learn how to be a leader. The toddler course is more reacting to what they come up with. They're all different, right? They all do different stuff. And you're starting to exercise leadership skills, but you haven't really got the whole thing going yet because they can't stop and think before they act yet when they're toddlers. But when they're 3, that's when you really exercise your leadership. Oops. How do I work on myself? Okay, well, you just keep watching. It's all about connecting with your kids. Number 1 is connecting. And you're accountable too. If you yell, you have to be punished for that. Go on the behavior board, put no yelling as your rule, and your consequences, you have to play hide and seek with the kids for 10 minutes. Something like that. That's how you start exercising it. You're showing them how it's done. You teach children how to be self-disciplined. You don't teach children how to listen to you. That's not what I did. I never told my kids what to do. Why would I? I'm a leader. Why would I tell them what to do? It doesn't make sense. A leader guides them into making good choices. So, hey, we're heading to school. We'll be leaving in 5 minutes. I didn't say you better get ready. I just say we're leaving in 5 minutes, and they'd be ready because they were self-disciplined. That's what a leader does. You don't have to tell them what to do. Who wants to do that? I wanted to be fun. I just wanted to enjoy my kids and relax and have fun. That's what a leader does. But you got to work for that. You got to earn that. It doesn't come, they don't come out of the womb just respecting you. You got to work for that. I earned it. I worked my butt off when I was working with kids. I was just volunteering. I was like a teen mentor, a behavioral mentor with kids. And I worked my butt off to get respect. I know how to do it. And I worked really hard to get it. Once you've got it, then it's easy street. You got to prove yourself to them. Are you worthy of being respected? Right? Don't expect respect. Work for it. Earn it. How do you get respect? I bonded with them, and I don't take any crap, but I connect with kids. Look at the pool story. The pool story is the very first video on here, and it's called The Pool Story. And it's on my my very first podcast. I tell the pool story. And it's all about leadership parenting. It teaches you that. I don't take any crap. But then I deal with bad behavior, but then I instantly flip it and I focus on the good kid. I connect, I bond, and then they want to please me because I'm a leader. Okay, I got to get going. That's it. My voice is starting to fade. What was I going to say? No, that's it. Anyway, check out my link above. You can get right to my website, and you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. You can look into coaching. I have a pretty good turnaround right now. I think it's just 1 week turnaround right now for coaching because there's a wait list. And then my podcast. I've got brand new podcast today, just came out, and it's doing really well, like far surpassed anything we expected. And the podcast, we downloaded 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes. The first one is about what is leadership parenting. That one is in the front so far. And then right behind it, very close by, is the toddler tantrums. And then third is navigating consequences as a parent. So I think the tantrum one is going to overshoot the first one because most people ask about tantrums. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And I'll be back again hopefully tomorrow sometime. If not, I'll be back on Thursday for my regularly scheduled live. And our podcast will be released, a new one every Tuesday. So, and you'll be asked for your feedback and your advice as we go along. If you get on my newsletter list, if you want, and you'll get, that's where you'll learn all about what's going on. My daughter does all that stuff. The podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and it's on Apple and Spotify. But if you go to the link above, you'll go right to my website. You can listen to it there, or you can watch it on YouTube. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Always appreciate you, and happy parenting. Bye now.